everybody. Welcome to On the Road in Dallas. Time for morning stretch. Putting in a little note here for everybody. There we go. Well, I answer your questions. There, put a little note in. Good morning, Emily. How you doing? I'm doing on the phone this morning instead of doing it on my computer because I want to do a little bit mobile, a little bit more mobile today. Just going to be getting started with a little bit of stretching initially. Hit me up with any questions you got. Happy Saturday morning, by the way. Decided that we're going to do a little bit of extra things today. Happy Saturday morning, YouNow person. Glad you could join me. Love you guys. Hey, I'm going to sit here and munch on a little bit of yogurt before I get started. One thing I do appreciate about where I'm staying is they have free breakfasts, and you can't argue with free breakfast. Now, yesterday, yeah, I really pigged out. Hey, when you can get a full-blown breakfast for free, right? So, yeah, yesterday I went everything. I had scrambled eggs, I had some bacon, I had a bagel with cream cheese, and best of all, fresh-made waffles. I mean, big old waffles, big fluffy waffles, can't beat it. But I don't do that every day. Yeah. There's no way that I can sit here and talk to you guys about having a halfway decent diet and trying to keep control of your calorie count if I blew back up to 252 pounds again. Look on my wall. There's a picture of me from 2005. It was my old driver's license picture when I was 110 pounds heavier. And still smoking cigarettes at that time. I didn't do myself any favors, you guys. Anyhow, I'm going to munch a little bit on this strawberry banana yogurt, get a little bit of protein and a little bit of energy in my system. Hit me up with some questions, you guys. I found out some pretty bad news just for general population statistics recently. I'll share with you guys in a bit. I usually prefer the low-fat Greek yogurt, but can't argue when it's free. Mind you, still doesn't have a lot of sugars in it, but sugars are the one thing that, for me, besides the fat content of stuff, as a diabetic, I'm always looking at the sugar content. Emily, you pre-diabetic, diabetic, you have any issues with your blood sugars yet? If you don't know what your A1C number is, it's extremely important for you to know. Why? Because that tells me, and your doctor, and whoever you're getting the labs done for, which should mostly be you, the A1C number is your 60-day glucose tolerance number. Basically, it's how well your body is processing sugars, glucose, fructose, whatever sugars are going into your system. So when you get your lab work done, your blood work done, they will find out right then and there what your A1C number is. And hopefully you guys are in the healthy range. Unfortunately, I'm already a type 2 diabetic. You let yourself get really big like I did and you be sedentary, you don't, get any exercise or activity done, it tends to complicate, and multiply issues like diabetes, getting diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. There's a whole litany of things that happen to the human body when we just, ignore taking care of it properly. Good stuff, yogurt. This one's strawberry banana, but I do like peach. My favorite yogurt is peach, besides just plain vanilla. But you guys have any favorites as far as yogurt? Who's joined us? Hey, Tonino, il mafioso. Capi de tutti capi. Paisano. Anyhow, you guys, glad you could make it here on a Saturday morning. Going to be getting some stretching done here in a bit. And when I'm on the road, there's always no guarantee that wherever I'm staying that they have a weight room or any kind of workout facilities at all. So for me, I bring this everywhere I go. And yeah, TSA checks my luggage because I'm sure it probably looks weird going through x-rays. But this is just a good old-fashioned chest puller. 3 springs, wooden handles. Basically, you can do the same thing with the new bands. They're rubber kind of bands that you can use. The elastic, stretchy bands that do the same thing that this does. For me, it's like having a gym in a bag when I want to do resistance training, which I do 3 times a week. For those of you who spend time with me, you understand, and you've joined me while I do weights. And it's not heavy weights. I'm not looking to turn into some muscle head. For me, it's just a matter of keeping tone, keeping the body fat at the percentage I want it to be at, and just generally being physically fit. When you're doing resistance training, even light weights training, the muscle burns more calories than fat, first of all. So the more lean your body is, the more efficiently your metabolism will be burning, the things that you consume. When you spend the time to build up the muscles and remove the subcutaneous and visceral fat, right, then you're going to be basically looking at having a metabolism that's burning fat faster. It's a wonderful circle. In some instances, being sedentary, eating too much food, that's a vicious circle in the opposite direction. Right? Because basically what you're doing there is putting in more calories than you're burning. In which case, depending upon how often you're putting in more calories, than you're burning, you could be gaining pounds on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis. It all depends. Once again, it all comes down to numbers, you guys. Who's joined us? Who's popped in this morning? Just in your mind. Everything is in our minds there. Hey, Nick. Hey, Elias. What's going on? Glad you guys could make it. Anyhow, if you're sitting down, why don't you stand up and join me? I'm going to start getting a little bit of stretching done. Right? One of the main things that I'm always talking about, you guys, is too many of us sit around too often for too long. I know. When I blew up to 252 pounds, I was in computer training. So I spent 25 years sitting around on my butt working on computers, or helping other people work on their computers, or sitting in a meeting talking about working on computers, or sitting on my butt in a car, sitting in traffic, trying to get out to a meeting to talk about working on computers. The bottom line is, I spent most of my time sitting. That was on the job, in the office, meetings, in the car, at home. I was always sitting. So if you look on my wall, again, you'll see a picture of me from early 2000s. when I was 110 pounds heavier than I am now. This is long before I became a personal trainer. I was also in my 31st year of smoking cigarettes at that time, and got hit with the old type 2 diabetes. And so that basically put me on the track to do something, because I didn't like the idea of losing fingers and toes. I like my eyesight. I generally enjoy living. And if you don't manage type 2 diabetes, it will kill you. It'll take parts off your body. You can get open foot sores. I mean, the range of things that happen to you with diabetic neuropathy, right, and retinopathy, when the nerves die in your eyes and you go blind. And this happens as well as your internal organs begin to shut down. Your pancreas first says, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not processing all of the food, all the blood sugars you're putting into your system. The insulin levels begin to, well, first of all, your body goes crazy producing way too much insulin. That's your pre-diabetic indication. And if you don't know what your A1C number is, and I'll say it again, please find out. You need to know where your blood sugars are. Pretty easy. If you're overweight like I was, or obese like I was before that, you may be pre-diabetic or full-blown diabetic. Bottom line, though, is you got to find out. So anyhow, hit me up with any questions, you guys. They don't have to be personal training or health related. I'm covering the entire who's sauce. Okay, Schleck. Now, how you doing, Schleck? Glad you could join us. That's very close to the German word schlecht, but we won't go there because everything is positive. Schlecht is simply German for bad. But Schleck, yeah, I'm almost like Shrek, only slightly off there. Huh? Anyhow, you guys, if you're sitting down, get up and do some stretching with me, and then I'm going to get a little resistance training done, and then I'm going to drag you guys down to the weight room right here in the hotel, and you're going to watch me as I work out on some of the machines and see if we can all have a little bit of fun getting off our butts. So first and foremost, if you're sitting down, stand up. I will be checking for any questions you guys have. Questions, comments, theories, postulations, whatever you want to share today. This is open forum. The topic is ask questions, and it doesn't have to be on personal training or health coaching. Anything that you have a question on, hit me up. You can go have a look at the 80 chapters in the book I put out in 2014. It's on Amazon, Pushing Double Nickels. A lot of chapters on a lot of different things in there. Not all of it has to do with healthy humans. If you have a question on dogs, for instance, I'm writing a dog book. I do consider myself a dog expert. Business, public speaking, there's a whole range of topics that I can talk to you about. If you're dealing with issues as far as business, personal, emotional, mental, it doesn't really matter. You have an issue you're dealing with, hit me up. I helped a gentleman a couple of weeks ago who, funny enough, and it's not really funny, but at his age, he's experiencing amnesia. I mean, at 24 years old, he's getting amnesia. So that concerned me, and I sent him straight to his doctor because he's got to find out. He's got to get some tests done to find out what's going on there, because amnesia is not an illness or disease. Amnesia is a symptom of something underlying, something much more important that he needs to find out than just the fact that he's forgetting things. And at 24, nobody should be forgetting things. Who's joined us? Who's popped in? Oh, hey, Taylors. What's going on? Anyhow, so until somebody hits me up with a question, remember, there are no dumb questions. Just hit me up with any questions you got. Why don't you get up and stretch with me? We're going to reach for the ceiling. Stretch them high. You're going to have your feet about shoulder width apart. We'll do about 20 of these. Follow along. Get up. If you're sitting down, get up. Let's go. A little warm up and stretching won't hurt any of you. Just stretch as far as you can go without hurting. And if you have a ceiling over your head, then reach for it. If you're outside, go for the sky. 20 of these. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And stretch further each time. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Ah, feels good. And those of you who are doing the food diary, we'll talk about that in just a little bit, because that's really, I've got several folks who are already on the path now, starting with the first group who did the food diary starting beginning of last week. I've got one lady, she's on track. She's already lost a couple of pounds, and she's only in her second week. So she's a very happy camper because she can see a light at the end of the tunnel. Her doctor told her she's got prediabetes. She's 70 pounds overweight. She participated in the food diary that we did last week, and we figured out exactly where her calories are coming from, and we've put together a plan that is going to help her get her calories under control. It all comes down to portion sizes, you guys. Seriously, when you're consuming too many calories, and it doesn't really matter at that point if you're eating junk food or health food. And seriously, if you're consuming too many calories, even if it's spinach, it doesn't really matter. Every 3,500 calories additional that you put into your body that you don't burn off turns into 1 pound of fat. It's a very simple formula. We know the numbers. And applying them in real life, that's where it comes down to the difference between whether you're gaining weight or losing weight, or staying at weight, which is rare, but that's where people who are in maintenance mode, where you're at your proper BMI, you're at your proper weight, right? That's where you want to be, is in maintenance mode, permanently, forever, ever, ever, ever. That's why I keep on saying these diet programs, all the commercials you see on television, lose weight fast. It's a waste of your time. Any good personal trainer is going to say, you don't need to diet. Diet should not be in your vocabulary, right? You don't need to sign up for any weight loss plans or meal replacement plans. And all these people want to do is to get, a monthly chunk of your credit card money. That's all they're after. Being healthy, staying at weight, or losing weight to get down to your proper BMI. And if you don't know what your BMI is, your body mass index, as a health coach and personal trainer, that's the number that I'm concerned about the most. Not so much your weight, but your height and your weight combined together will give you a number, and you can go Google it right now. Look at BMI chart, BMI calculator, body mass index calculator. Just go Google it. You can find out in about 2 seconds. Look at your weight, look at your height, look at the box that it comes to in the middle. That's going to tell you exactly what your body mass index is. To me, that tells me whether or not your weight is in the healthy range for your size. That's the simple thing. That, to me, is a much better indicator of whether or not you're overweight or underweight or obese. And once you have that number, you say, okay, so I get my number. What does that mean? Well, the body mass index, right, the BMI scale, on that scale, if your BMI number is between 18.5, that's 18 and a half, and 25, then you're in the healthy range. Then your body mass index is in the healthy range, okay? So again, that's between 18.5 and 25. That's normal BMI. For your height, weight, you're perfect. If you're below 18.5, then you're underweight, okay? So you could gain a few pounds. If you're between 25 and 30, then you're overweight. Okay, you need to lose some pounds. If you're between 30 and 35, you're obese, generally obese. 35 and above, 35 to 40 really, is very obese. 40 and above can be mortally obese. In other words, we're talking about the folks who are, on my 600-pound life, position. The point where your heart is, under so much strain and stress, it could literally explode. My BMI at my heaviest, when you look on the wall, if you look on my wall there, you'll see that picture of me when I was 252 pounds. My BMI at that time was 38, okay, 38. So I was very obese, not just obese, I was very obese. And a couple points away from being mortally obese or extremely obese. Bottom line is I was not healthy. And at that time, I was also in my 31st year of smoking cigarettes. I was about a pack-a-day smoker from 15 to 46. Yeah, I didn't do myself any favors. Now, that's all on me, though. And I can't blame anyone except for myself on that. Hey, Jens, what's going on? Cool PC. Hey, YouNow person. Anyhow, what I'm talking about is being healthy as far as your weight goes. Because we have an issue in America right now. We have an epidemic happening, several of them, actually. But the obesity epidemic is affecting 2/3 of the population. 2/3 of the population, 66, 67% of us. And that included me. I got caught up in that. I'm 110 pounds less now, but at 252 pounds and a BMI of 38 and smoking cigarettes, I was about as unhealthy as it gets at that time. And that's when I was hit with type 2 diabetes. Woo-hoo. Great timing, huh? So I'm here to tell you, at pushing 59 now, I'm a personal trainer for the last 3 years, right? Anybody can make changes. Anybody. I don't care if you're 20, if you're 80. Irrelevant. I don't care if your BMI is up in the obese range. I don't care if you're still smoking cigarettes if you're a cigarette smoker. You can get rid of that stuff. You can get rid of the cigarettes. You can get rid of the weight. And you don't have to sign up for stupid diet programs and fads and do surgeries. It's just irrelevant. It's a matter of simply applying the math that we know and figuring out, one, all right, where's all the calories coming from? You've got to figure it out, right? And that's the food diary that we're keeping. Then you got to figure out within your means, right? Because I know darn well, right, if you're one of those folks like me who needs to lose weight, you're not going to run out and start buying rice cakes and salads and tofu. Come on. Let's be realistic, gang. Right? You're not going to stop eating most of the foods that you love. It's just not going to happen. I understand that. And I'm there. I have not stopped eating one single thing that I ate way back when. The difference is, one, portion sizes, much smaller for me now. And two, when I go get a double quarter pounder with cheese and a fillet of fish and double fries and whatever, that's a once in a while thing. Right? I hit Mickey D's maybe once a month. Right? Used to be a lot more than that. I was a fast food guy forever. When I worked in computer training and I was 252 pounds, the picture you see on my wall, you would see me every day at lunch. I'd go out and I'd hit the fast food place. I'd get the double cheeseburgers. I'd get a chicken sandwich or a filet. I'd get fries. I'd get rings. I'd get a shake. I'd schlep it all back to the office, sit there and eat it right, at my desk, right, working on computers. I was in information technology. And then I'd sit there for the rest of the afternoon, just after having consumed, probably about 2,000 calories just at that one sitting. And just so you understand what happens to the body, right, when we're talking about calories, right, I'll give you some numbers, right. 200-pound person, right, just 200-pound person requires about 1,900 calories a day, just their autonomic functions, their heart rate, their breathing, right, whatever. 200-pound person needs about 1,900 calories a day just to stay at 200 pounds, okay? A 150-pound person, maybe 1,450 calories. A 250-pound person, maybe 2,400 calories, thereabouts 2,350, 2,400, rounding it off generally. So 200 pounds, let's just take the 200-pound person. If they want to stay at 200 pounds, they don't want to lose any weight, they want to gain any weight, okay? Their daily caloric intake, in other words, everything that crosses their lips, should not exceed 1,900 calories. That's their daily nut. That's what they need to stay at 200 pounds. Now, this is if just assuming that they don't have any activity levels, that they're basically a sedentary person. Okay, don't exercise or anything major. Just that's what they do. 1,900 calories. That's going to keep them at 200 pounds. They won't lose any weight. They won't gain any weight. Now, if that 200-pound person, right, instead of just having 1,900 calories a day for that week, suppose that they did 2,500 calories for that week, an additional 600 calories a day, all right, times 7 days, all right, that's an additional 4,200 calories there. For every 3,500 calories that you consume, that we consume, anybody consumes. And it doesn't matter what. I don't care if it's health food or junk food. For every 3,500 calories that you put in your face that you don't burn off, some form of energy, exercise, activity, something, if your body does not burn off that 3,500 calories, it deposits itself in some form of fat, 1 pound. Could be subcutaneous fat, belly fat, could be visceral fat, the really nasty stuff that accumulates around your organs and causes things like fatty liver disease, which is on the rise again. We'll talk about some statistics I just found. Who's joined us? Hey, gents. Abdalman. I try to say these properly. If I screw it up, I apologize. Some of you guys are real creative on the names here. I got to give you that much. There's some real cool names on this place. One of the things, and I have to share this with you, one of the reasons I like to be here on YouNow is, one, this is a younger group of folks, and I'm targeting, I have 4 millennial kids. I expect every millennial on this planet to live to 100 plus, without wearing diapers, without drooling on yourselves, generally in good health, if not great health, right? My goal. And we have an epidemic happening right now, right? An obesity epidemic. 2 out of 3 Americans are either overweight or obese, right? 66, 67% out of 324 million Americans. 216 million, between 200 and 216 million need to lose weight. They're either overweight or obese. Right? I know, I got caught up in that epidemic myself. I fully understand it, been there, done that. But in order for us to get this epidemic, and it is an epidemic with that many people involved, it's very much an epidemic. We're losing up to 1,500 people a day because of the obesity crisis. And this includes the people that are getting hit with the diabetes, the high blood pressure, coronary arterial disease, arterial sclerosis, the whole range of issues that affect the human body when you become especially obese. For me, I got thrown into full-blown type 2 diabetes. The symptoms I was having in early 2005 were insane. I couldn't drink enough liquids. I could not get enough liquids to drink. And, of course, the more liquid you drink, the more thirsty you are. My eyes went wonky. My contact lenses, my glasses, nothing was right. So my eyes went wonky on me. Come to find out, my blood sugars were at such a high level, I should have probably been in a diabetic coma at that point. So there I am, May 2005. I'm sitting in my doctor's office. Now remember, At the time, I'm still a cigarette smoker, pack a day. Right? I'm 252 pounds. My BMI was 38. Right? So I'm sitting in my doctor's office, May 2005, and he comes in, never forget, great doctor, he retired since, and he says, well, Brad, you have type 2 diabetes. The symptoms you've been talking about, you obviously have already figured out, because obviously, I went looking on the internet to figure out what the heck was going on. So I pretty much knew going in that that's probably what I had. But he confirmed it. He says, yes, you have type 2 diabetes. You need to get your blood sugars under control. My A1C was through the roof at that point, so was my blood sugars, 300 plus range. I think 380 was the number he threw out. But he said to me point blank, he goes, you need to make some changes. You've got to lose some weight. You need to get rid of the cigarettes. You've got to get your diabetes managed. You have to get it under control. He goes, otherwise, look at your toes, look at your fingers, start picking out the ones that you don't like, because they're going to cut those off. In fact, they're going to even cut off the ones that you do like. And he goes, and you're going to go blind. And your internal organs are going to die, starting with your pancreas. And eventually it will kill you. So I didn't like any of that news. None of that was a happy conversation for me. And of course, there I am sitting in his office, 252 pounds, and I still feel that person on the inside. And of course, I've been in there so long at that point, I was dying to get out of there and go have a freaking cigarette. Anyhow, bottom line is, I put myself back into Marine Corps boot camp. About 6 weeks later, I went through boot as a 17-year-old fresh-faced Marine down San Diego. And here at 46, almost 30 years later, I put myself back into boot camp. Because there was no way, there was absolutely no way I was going to let this defeat me. No freaking way. All right, so I had to take off 110 pounds and I had to get rid of a 31-year cigarette habit. All right, done. But I figured out a few things in the process. First and foremost, portion size. That's the key. That really is the key. Because I know you, just like me, we're just not going to suddenly stop eating all the foods that we like. We're not just going to all of a sudden run out and start buying rice cakes and tofu and eating salads at every meal. I know that's not going to happen. Let's be realistic. Right? It didn't happen for me that way. It took time for me to figure out slowly the things that I could replace junk food with that was healthier for me. And it's still happening to this day. I still experiment and look for things that I'm going to enjoy eating that's not going to be high in saturated fat and trans fat and high cholesterol, the things that generally made me unhealthy to begin with. Hang on, somebody's joined us. Make sure I'm saying hi. Hey, Maya, how's it going? Glad you can make it. So the bottom line, gang, is if you need to lose weight, and 2/3 of America is currently in that position, so I know I must be talking to a few of you. If you're in the position where you need to lose weight, ignore all the stupid television commercials. Seriously, dieting is not the plan. If you're in your 20s or 30s now and you're overweight or obese like I was, right, you're not going to be signing up for Weight Watchers for the next 80 years. You with me on this? You're not going to be buying meal replacement plans, for the next 5-6 decades. You understand? What you need to figure out is a permanent, long-term solution that you can live with, within yourself. That's still going to get you to the point where you're losing weight instead of gaining weight. I don't care if it's a pound a week. A pound a week is still 52 pounds in a year. A pound every other week is still 26 pounds in a year. Taking off, not putting on. Right? Take it from the guy who knows. It's very easy to put on the pounds, and there are no symptoms to getting overweight, becoming obese. There are no symptoms to it. It just happens to us slowly over time. We don't gain weight fast. I've yet to meet anybody who tells me they put on 50 pounds in 30 days. It doesn't work that way. So at the same time, when you need to lose weight and you need to get back into shape, get your BMI where it needs to be, it's not going to happen fast. Looking for short-term fast solutions, a fast fix, is not the way to go. You know, the lap bands, the bariatric surgeries, getting your stomach stapled, you know, the meal replacement plans, they're all for one main thing, to get you back down to the BMI where you need to be. The body mass index is the number that you need to know. And again, if you don't know your BMI, if you aren't aware of what your body mass index number is, Google it right now. Anywhere. Just go look at BMI calculator, body mass index calculator. Look at your height, look at your current weight, follow it to the box in the middle, and it's going to tell you exactly what your current body mass index is, your BMI. If you look on my wall, like I said, I have a picture of me. Hey Calvin, how's it going? If you look on my wall, there's a picture of me when I was 252 pounds. That's 110 pounds heavier than I am now. My BMI at that time was 38. What happened? The reason I had to make the changes, type 2 diabetes. I got hit with it. You know, my doctor hit me with it May 2005. You have to make some changes, otherwise fingers, toes, eyesight, and eventually your life will be gone. So for me, getting rid of the weight and getting rid of the cigarettes, there was no question. I had to do it. I am certain I would not be standing here talking to you about this right now had I stayed obese and kept smoking cigarettes. You know, this was 13 years ago. Had I continued on the path I was back then, you know, when diagnosed at 46 with type 2 diabetes, 252 pounds, still smoking a pack a day of Camel filters mostly, had I kept that up, I'm pretty sure I'd have probably had a heart attack in my sleep long before now. Right? And I have pretty good statistics, you know, to back me up on this. The training that I've learned as a health coach, hey, YouNow, glad you could make it. The training as a health coach, which is a personal trainer on steroids, you know, personal trainer times 10, which is what I was after. The training that simply allowed me to back up what I already knew. Because having gone through 110 pounds and having gotten rid of a 31-year cigarette habit, right, and got the diabetes under control and having to live with, you know, and manage chronic pain. 1 out of 3 Americans suffers some form of chronic back pain. 1 out of 3 of us. That's a lot. Right? And I'm quite convinced it has a lot to do with carrying too much weight and being too sedentary, sitting around too much. And that's one thing as a society, we have become sedentary. Right? Like I said, I sat on the job for years, right? Information computer training, you know, information technology. That's all I did. I sat, worked on computers all the time, either in the office or sitting in my car to go meet with a client to talk about working on computers, or sitting in a client's office to talk about working on computers. I mean, whatever it was, I was sitting, right, and eating and not watching anything as far as my nutrition, my portion sizes, right? Again, I still eat everything I used to eat. I still love cheeseburgers and fried chicken and fries and meatloaf. I still have my comfort foods, right? And I eat them. But the big difference now is in the portion sizes. Now I understand that at the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month, and yeah, the end of the year, whether or not I get back up to 252 pounds or stay at 142 pounds with a BMI of 22 or BMI of 38 back then, the difference isn't the amount of calories that I'm burning, the amount of calories that I'm consuming versus the amount of calories that I'm exhuming, if you will. So for me, at 142 pounds, I've got a daily caloric intake requirement of about 1,325 to 1,350 calories. For me, just to stay at 142 pounds, I don't need to consume anything more than 1,350 calories, thereabouts, just to stay at this weight. And that's just if I don't do any activities, right? If I'm not active that day, which doesn't exist in my world. Right? I am the least inactive person that you will ever meet now. But that's only because I've learned that for me, staying active and staying busy, one, makes me happier. Yeah, it makes me healthier. And when you have lower back pain, especially lower back pain that's exacerbated, that's made worse by sitting, then you'll find that not sitting makes you happy a lot more than sitting. I still have my times when I'll kick back and relax, but they're nowhere near the sedentary that I used to be. Not even close. In fact, I do a lot of my television watching standing up. I watched the Super Bowl, the entire Super Bowl. In fact, I broadcast live here on YouNow while we watched the Super Bowl, and we all had fun with the commercials. I didn't sit down once, and simply because I know that I can easily become sedentary again. I could easily, kick back mode and blow back up to 252 pounds. For me, it would be a simple thing. Both sides of my family, mother's and father's side, had heavy people. Genetically, it runs in my family. So I will always, always be watching. Yeah, I eat a lot more healthier now. I'm not eating